What's going on, guys? Starting off a little bit later in the workout. I messed up. Really wasn't sure if I was gonna film this session, but decided to anyways. So I'm already past my leg extensions. Did 2 warm-up sets on that, 2 working sets. Really focusing on pausing the weight up at the top for 1 to 2 seconds and then slowly lowering it down. Now moving into something you guys probably haven't seen me do in a while, or I don't even know if, no, I've definitely filmed doing these before. This is a pendulum squat, which loads much differently than any sort of regular back squat, hack squat, leg press. Loads completely different than any of those different leg pressing or squatting variations. And the fact that this thing kind of moves in an arc, right? So, like I said, loads very differently. Haven't done this thing. When I just looked, it's been like 6 months since the last time I did this, and decided to give it a try last week when my back was bothering me, which may or may not have said something during my pull day. Was doing T-bar row and just had like I don't know, maybe a little bit too much of an arch in my back and felt it pull something like right behind my neck. So my quad day last week took it a little bit easier, less. I was looking for like less impact, less compression of my spine and back and all that. So I ended up doing leg presses with which, and I mean, I've kind of wanted to switch back to this thing for a little while now anyways, just give it another try. Obviously not trying to go crazy heavy where I'm going to end up essentially hurting myself, especially now. So I do finally have a show date picked out. It is October, I believe October 19th. Don't quote me on that. Just roughly from what I remember, I think it's that day. So as of this week, it puts me about 12 weeks out. So that being said, I'm already 20 pounds down from when I started kind of initially cutting back in March. So I've got 12 weeks essentially to lose another 10 to 12 pounds-ish, maybe 15. Once I get down to around like 175-ish, I'll have a better idea of how my physique is going to look at that weight, and then I can kind of adjust as needed. But 12 weeks to lose roughly 10 pounds, I think is very doable. I'm just, from this point on, really going to have to lock in and like just be on everything. Like everything is going to have to be on point as far as, you know, my training. I'm going to have to train smarter to prevent injury as much as possible, because now we're kind of coming down to it, so I can't really afford any of that. Diet is going to have to be on point. No little snacks or anything in between when I get hungry, which surprisingly hasn't really made that much of a difference. Like, I'm sure in the grand scheme it is, but definitely need to cut that out. And then my cardio is going to vary. So I've been sticking to around 30 minutes, probably 4-ish times a week. I'm going to try and bump that up to 35, maybe even 40 minutes when I can. And then depending on if I'm having a hard time then pulling weight as I get closer, I can always switch to the Stairmaster, because that'll be more intense sure to burn more calories on that, and that should help me the rest of the way if I feel like I'm getting stuck in that. So that's enough yapping for me. Let's go get into this second set. I was only going to do 2 sets on this, but the first set I was kind of feeling things out, so I think I'm gonna end up doing 3. These, I'm trying to be somewhere around like 6 to 10. First set was 8. If I can stay there, that'll be perfectly fine. Let's go 2 more. Really trying to focus on holding that stretch there at the bottom for a second, and then coming back up. But really, really focusing on holding it, holding that weight there, holding that stretch. Try and get these things to grow some more. Not that I really need to, since I'll be competing in physique, but I do like having a more well-rounded physique, especially because a lot of the physique guys typically don't train legs because you're not judged on that. So, yeah, that was a good set. I can go ahead and do 1 more. Still going to be doing hip adductors after my squat movement. Also still only doing 2 sets of these. Only thing different is last week, I think I changed, because you can change the resistance profile of this cam system depending on where you want the load to feel heaviest, in the beginning, middle, or end. And I don't remember exactly where I had it, but I think I had it more towards the end of the range of motion, and I was able to really focus on squeezing and holding that contraction for a second and then slowly releasing it. So I think I'm gonna try and do that again. Again, only doing 2 sets here, so if I don't have it in the correct position for this first set, then I can always adjust it, for the second one. That's no big deal. But that's definitely moving forward through these next 12 weeks or so. That's going to be my plan, is to really slow down, decrease load. I mean, obviously I don't want to decrease too much because I want to maintain as much strength as possible, but maintain that or slightly decrease that so that I can really maintain a slow and controlled rep, focusing on contraction. Well, focusing on the contraction and the stretch. Good. Yeah, have that in the right spot. Another thing I feel like that helps me with is when I have the load set in the middle, towards the end, it almost feels like it gets easier, and sometimes I can kind of smack the pads together because I'm contracting so hard and just pushing past that point. This, having the resistance profile now more towards the end, forces me to slow down through that range of the movement, which overall just allows me to have better control over it. So they finally got another standing calf raise machine, which they must have just gotten this within the past 2 days, because I was just here 2 days ago and this wasn't here. So they either got it they probably got it yesterday, actually. Well, either yesterday or it could have been Wednesday, since I come so early in the morning, but definitely within the past 2 days, which again, haven't done standing calf raises in at least 6 months, 6 to 8 months, because that's the last time that they had another one, which I don't know why they got rid of that one. That was a good machine. We'll see how good this one is. Probably going to do an extra set. It technically won't be a working set, but it'll be a set just for me to kind of gauge how this weight loads and how the movement works and all of that good stuff. So I put a pretty decent amount of weight on there. I'll do a couple reps with that, see how that feels. All right. That actually doesn't feel too bad. Let's go ahead. 40. I don't know what that plate was that dropped. I don't know if it was like just stuck to the bottom or what was going on there. But let's go up here. And then this will be the actual working set. Maybe, I think. Should be enough. Want to be between like 8 12 reps. It's a pretty moderate working weight, I think, right there. Kind of starting to struggle around 8 reps. Maybe could have pushed it another 2, but I can still crank out the partials at the end, which if I end up falling short. Or I could potentially do that through each of the sets at the very end, just to really burn everything out. I'll tell you what though, it does feel good. I'm already feeling quite a burn in my calves compared to how it would normally feel since I've been using the leg press. This load's a lot different, and so far I like it. It's gonna be final set. Bump the weight up another 10 pounds. See if I can't maximize the amount of reps it takes me to get to failure. Had to think about that for a minute. Damn. That was a good set. My calves are definitely burning right now. Let's log this real quick. That way I can get this out of the way. That way my timer is not still going thinking that I'm, got this crazy rest set going on. Before I go hit my cardio real quick, I think I'm gonna set this up just like that. And then show you guys what I'm working with, because I haven't done I'm showing you guys any posing in a long time. Lately I've been messing around with it more, having my biggest issue is the transitions, I feel like. So let's go ahead, kind of run through it a little bit, an idea of what I got going on. See, can't do it. Sit over my hat. So that actually worked out pretty well. All right. And then the transition part here is where I feel like I have hardest time trying to figure out what I should be doing with my body, with my arms. So I go from here-ish, I can keep my balance, my front pose. And then it's the transition to the side that I feel like I have one of the hardest times trying to figure out. So from here to here, and then I don't know if I should be, flexing, pressing out, and then hitting kind of like the side. I don't know. And then again, the transition from that kind of like side pose to the back pose, like obviously just a rotation, so it's not that big of a deal, but then there's the back pose, and then again transition. I don't know, should I be hitting other side transition, or I guess it would be this side, right? So definitely work in progress. I need to see if I've got 12 weeks, so it's kind of coming down to it, but I've got enough time to really dial that in and get that squared away before show day. If I can try and find like a seminar posing group before then, I'm definitely going to try. Aside from that, it's going to be a lot of, YouTube tutorials, which is oddly kind of ironic since, making this video for YouTube, but a lot of YouTube, maybe even Instagram Reel tutorials on different posing techniques, different posing transitions, and until I kind of find something that I can really work and flow with. So all that being said, I'm going to wrap things up here so I can go hit my cardio. As always, guys, if you made it to the end, I do appreciate you, and I will catch you in the next one. Take care.